Hello, my name is Johnny. Welcome to another awesome collection, pop culture edition, items from the 1960s. Today we're going to look through this Mad magazine. They call it the special Halloween issue of Mad, but it is it. It's got a great cover. We're going to look through it from cover to cover. If you'd like, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, reply, and share. I did a Mad magazine earlier that had him as Alfred as a scarecrow, and now this one I'm going to post, I believe, right at Halloween time. It's got a great cover, but spoiler right now, it really doesn't have anything Halloween in it, but it lets you know the date here that these were published about 2 months ahead, as it's a December 60 issue, but it's got a Halloween cover because it came out in October. There's the little action in the Mad logo there. Our price, 25-cent cheap. So we moved out of the 1950s, and now we're in the 1960s. We're going to look at that first page with the credits, and then let's look at the back here. They wouldn't really be able to handle that today. We've got a guy standing there against the wall for execution. And of course, it's photographed in Cuba for Arrow. Arrow shirts. Wherever you go, you look better in an Arrow shirt. This one cost me about $35, $36 as a back issue. Kind of expensive for a Mad magazine. I got this at a comic convention once from a comic book dealer. We had some real older ones, because usually these things from like the mid to late 60s, 70s up, but you don't see the ones from the 50s as much, or very early 60s. And this one's in fairly nice shape. I got a Takeoff on Dial soap. Here, number 59 already. There's the information. Usual gang of idiots. So it's pretty much the layout that it was going to have for decades to come. You can see what they're going to cover here. Like I said, I really like that cover, except for Alfred E. Neuman there is like a lit up pumpkin jack-o'-lantern face. It's kind of spooky and cool, and not ha-ha jokey, but that makes it jokey. So it's cool that way too. We got a little thing there for trick or treat. You know darn well what we think. I got months ago. Plug the costumes. Mad magazine. Look at how creepy that is. Stuff they were selling. Letters. Sometimes they'd have a photo of a couple of actors from a movie or a TV show looking at the Mad magazine that did a takeoff on them. I got a thing on advertising and doctors. Unusual that they went this way a little bit in here. A lot to read. A lot of this would go over a little kid's head. There's a guy that looks like Groucho. Back to the regular way. The Mad Sideshow. Modern freaks. Could they do that in today's world if they had freaks back in 1960? What could you see now? Complete historical quotations, including those famous lost words. And then Takeoff on the Game. that way. A lot to read on these. TV ads we'd like to see. Polydent. Got your own plates. And here we've got the Don Martin Department, Part 1. Save crackers. I always like the sound effects and everything on these. It's a 2-pager. Take off on the Lassie television show. It's supposed to be June Lockhart. There's the kid from the show. A lot to read on these. Yeah, these always took a long time to read as a kid. Paw through it and look through it first, and then get around to actually reading it completely or skipping or whatever you wanted to do. Especially look at all this to read. How to complete newspaper coverage. Jane Mansfield, so you can see who was around back in the day that for pop culture in here. Commercial roulette. There's Danny Thomas. A lot of people were very much of their time. Untouchables. That's actually a good show, The Untouchables. Jack Parr. He'd be gone in a few years from The Tonight Show, and then Johnny Carson would start his 30-year reign. And Mr. Clean. How they spent their summer. So much to read. Of course, these magazines didn't come out every month. They had an odd way of doing it. I think there were about 8 or 9 a year, and then plus they had their larger reprint specials that cost a little more and had a lot of stuff in it. So 2 Faces of World War II, movies and stuff. This is 1960, so this is only 15 years after World War II ended. There's one that looks like John Wayne. And then this one's a long one about the parent from ages 21 to 60. Getting older. I started getting the then new Mad magazine in the 1970s, and then I got back issues in the 60s, and then eventually I got some back into the 50s and this early 60 time period. So they put a lot of work and a lot of thought and all the illustrations and everything and all the things that supposed to be humorous. So as they called it, a special Halloween issue, like I said, other than the cover and that little bit in the front showing that trick-or-treat costumes, it really wasn't that. Well, I think on the other one, it actually had a little article takeoff on trick-or-treat and kids and so forth. There's another Don Martin Part 2. A one-pager. I think this is before the Spy versus Spy started, and they're already doing the pocket-sized books, the paperbacks. I have a bunch of those. I'll do a thing showing those. I have those from, I think, from the late 60s and the 70s. So let's look at that cover again. Special Halloween issue. We've got the Headless Horseman with Alfred E. Neuman on there. Until next time, more Pop Culture Edition Awesome Collection videos. Thanks for watching, everyone.